When relationships fail, we are quick to put the blame on the men. We hardly take responsibility for our own actions and inactions that may have contributed to the problem. Are women playing victims? Is it time for us to take our responsibilities and own up to our own choices? My name is Akosa Kunedu Owusu. This is Love Unlocked Unscripted. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Love Unlocked Unscripted. My name is Akosa Kunedu Owusu. I'm doing the discussion today with Nanekria. Remember Nanekria? Nanekria, you're welcome back. And with Emma. Emma, welcome back. Thank you for coming. Look, women are fond of self-sabotaging their own relationships, and I wonder why. Why do we self-sabotage our relationships?
Well, I think that it's not a general norm, but if you're speaking about those who do, it's obvious that we take things for granted.
Right.
I mean, you see, when you are serious about something, like you said, actions or inactions, you can see clearly that your actions or inactions are causing your relationship to fail, and you're not interested in doing about it. You're not even cautious or intentional about doing anything to change it. So yes, I mean, for example, you know that your significant other doesn't like a certain attitude or a certain behavior you've talked about, but out of ego, you're like, hey, well, if you could take it or leave it, or I'd say something like having certain relationships that your boyfriend complains, this guy around you I don't like. In for we women, we're always very innocent until it goes bad.
Yeah.
And he tells you that this gentleman around you is dangerous, he's after you, and say, oh, you are jealous. And we all know these popular issues, and until you find yourself in a compromised situation, like, had I known. So I think that any woman who finds herself in such a situation, especially when you are in a long distance relationship, you have to be more careful because you're not seeing each other. And if you have the wrong association, you can give room for people to take advantage of you. So I think that people who do that basically are just merely careless. Yeah. That's what I'd say.
But what role does fear? Because I think fear plays a very important role in how people self-sabotage their relationships. Do you agree with me?
Yeah. Also, let me begin by saying that if we see that we are, as women, this is a particular, not all, we won't generalize it. Sabotaging relationships, it stems from somewhere. So I'll always say that our interactions as human beings, it starts from childhood, adolescence, our experiences, our relationships with other people. So all these things come together to form our character,
right,
which sometimes we are not even aware, especially the experiences. So we pick all these things from childhood and all that. So you were talking about fear. Fear. Women could sabotage their relationship. Well, sorry, fear. When we're talking about fear, I think we can take it from two angles. Fear of being abandoned.
Okay.
And then fear of encroachment, or like being overwhelmed, fear of being overwhelmed. In that, for instance, when I was young, not my personal experience anyway, if you are young, for instance, and then your parents abandoned you, so you've been on the street, you've been hustling, you've been doing your own thing, and then you grow up, you're in a relationship, in your mind, you'd be like, even the people I know, and what these things come actually from very close relations. This fear comes from the abandonment of very close relationships, relations. Even the person that gave birth to me even abandoned me. So how much more you? So then we begin to let that fear take precedence over our ability to open up and then love. And also the second fear of being overwhelmed is you are afraid of not getting your freedom. We are afraid of not being able to take decisions on our own, especially when you've been on your own for a long time. So you are afraid that this person coming into my life is going to change things, because partnership, two people. If I need to buy this, I need to ask for permission, or I have to talk about this thing with this person. So then you see yourself consciously or unconsciously sabotaging the relationship. Yes, with so many actions.
Yeah. So what are some of these actions that we do that are self-sabotaging, but we may actually not even know that we are doing that in our relationships?
Okay, so I like the angle she brought. Because the average woman normally wants to. A woman is naturally nurturing. By default, if you love somebody, you want to take. That's why a lot of women in abusive relationships don't leave early; they stay. Now, but from the point she's coming in, where, for example, you've hustled for so long, and when you're single for so long, trust me, you've protected yourself for so long, and anybody coming to your space, it takes God's grace for you to even give somebody your space. And when that happens, and then you begin to not want to actually partner, so you do things that you think your partner doesn't have to know. What's his business? You know, and when he complains, you don't care. And that kind of inaction, that's meaning not responding to what your partner is saying, is very dangerous. You know, men have egos. I mean, natural, no matter who he is, he has egos, and he feels. Then you keep hearing men say, she's disrespectful to me. And you as a woman don't know that your action is disrespectful, because he's asking for courtesy and you're not giving it to him. So if, for example, if you're even married and then you have in-laws, some people are very fortunate to have the best in-laws. Now, a mother-in-law naturally in Africa would want to come in and stay in the home, and it's not like abroad where you have to mind your business and there's a boundary. In Africa, it's different. And then you think that you are so independent that you don't want your husband's mother in your space. And so not giving her that regard can worry your relationship. You know very well in Africa, the man and the mother there. What can you do about it? And so you decide not to give him that regard. Or he's he's a working class person, you're a career woman, and you think we are par. So if I come to the home, I don't take care of, you don't take care of the house. The man comes and the house is not a home but a war zone. Because you're not making him feel welcome. You also think you need attention. There's a battle for who is important, or who is what's it called? Who wears the pants in the house, because you're both in career people. But you see, women need to understand that, yes, we're not saying that men are higher than you as a human being, but there is an order you need to accept. So if you come from that point, you're very independent, I've done this for so long, so if I'm getting married, it's remaining the same. I mean, that is really detrimental to you. Or there was this issue where there was a gentleman who had a problem with the way the woman takes care of the children. He gives her money to buy things for the kids, and instead of using the money for the kids, she decides to use it for things that were extravagant. He kept on complaining, and she didn't care. Like, he's the husband. Yah said it earlier, like, last time we were here, that even if you're married to me, as a man, you should play the role of supporting financially. Now you're supporting financially, you're mismanaging the money. Women think, a lot of men don't complain, but women think that it's a deal breaker. Yeah, it's a deal breaker. So not managing finances in the home too is a very big problem. And another issue is this. So yes, you're a woman, you are working, or you might not be working for someone, you pay yourself, and your husband comes home and you're not always at home. Except you have that understanding that your husband is a home man. But when your husband is also going to the jungle with you, and he doesn't, as a woman, we are used to the fact that complain about men being bad. But you see, as a woman too, if you don't take your time to manage yourself, you find out that, listen, your relationship you think that is working, the man has kept quiet for so long, then it has power that he's internalized the problem. One day he says he wants a divorce, or he wants to break up, because the certain things you did, you're not sensitive towards, or his body language, you're not react. And that's one thing we don't. Body language. Let me give this example. There was a woman who complained that she wanted to divorce the husband because the man was not being sexually intimate with her, and she kept on nagging, and then luckily for her, she spoke to somebody who was sensible. So she told the guy, I want to divorce my husband. And the guy said, okay, that's okay, but I think he wants to find out why the husband is doing that, and she said she doesn't know, and she just kept on giving flimsy excuses. So he spoke to the husband. Apparently, the man had lost his job. Communication. So that is one issue that happens when you're not sensitive to the body language and the needs of your spouse or even your fiance. Then at the end of the day, you see that you lose your relationship. So this has
Let's talk about jealousy.
Another one.
Somebody even said that jealousy is healthy in a way, but from what I'm seeing, it's one of the things that really. I mean, of course, we are women, and we are.
So I think one of the ways that women sabotage their relationship it stems from mistrust.
Okay.
So jealousy would come maybe under the tree of mistrust. And also past experiences. And then there is this thing we call this thing attitude. You mentioned communication. We do not communicate, and that is also stemming from the fact that maybe I am not I haven't really accepted myself as a person worthy enough of love, and that stems from somewhere childhood experiences. Okay, our daily interactions with people. So people actually grow up with a thought that I am not worthy enough of love. And if you have that image of yourself, number one, it is actually very dangerous because it limits your ability to be able to accept love. And so when you're seeing that somebody is loving you, you begin to push the person away. And one of these ways we push the people away is we stonewall. Like stonewalling. If you have a problem, you see that the person will be like, instead of talking about the issue, they won't talk about the issue. They would rather give attitude. They block whoever is in a relationship with, and then they would money attitude. And men, in as much as we generalize the saying that they don't like talking about issues, men love talking about issues. They are human. Just as women want to have all the affection, all the attention, men also need that. So if you're a woman and you're able to communicate well, if you're unhappy about something, you don't stonewall, block the person. The person can't reach you emotionally, physically, in all ways. And then jealousy. We actually sabotage a relationship with mistrust. If I trust you, I won't be jealous. There is a normal level of jealousy. There is a normal, but then when it becomes extreme, like your husband or your friend, or your fiance or boyfriend cannot even go out or even talk to his friends or talk to female friends. Probably it stems from the fact that you have previously been cheated on.
Exactly.
And so you are carrying that experience into your relationship. So the mistrust is then leading to jealousy, and then by the time you realize, you've been nagging, fighting, throwing tantrums, and then the man will be frustrated. I'm going to work. I'm going to work. I close at 6 p.m. Something happened. I come back home 10 p.m. Why because you're already having that thing inside, and in your mind, a man has a tendency to cheat, and so already you have judged him. So you already start making noise, and no man wants that. So with time, you see him withdrawing, and by the time you realize, a very perfect relationship has gone down the road, something that could have worked out perfectly would suddenly not work, and you'll be asking yourself why. Then you find yourself blaming the man without taking a clear look at the person in the mirror.
I like what she's saying. There's a case where we're talking about abuse. Men also suffer verbal abuse. So what she's saying, for example, the man is not what you think he should be. Look at your mates. Trying to compare your
Unnecessary
man,
expectations.
exactly, it boils down to that, and you can appreciate who you have, you can nurture the life of the person that is your partner. Those things actually, so you see, when people say not every man cheats because he wants to, some men do not know they are cheating. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Emotional
Because
cheated and all
as she's
that.
saying, he has withdrawn and is emotionally empty. His love tank is empty with you.
Right.
And then there's another woman there who notices by innocence that, oh, this man is not happy at the office, for example. This man is always bubbly. Today he comes, he's sad, he's melancholy. And in her bid to try to understand, unintentionally there's a bond formed.
Right.
You see?
Right.
Now, as the more the man drifts apart from you, he is drifting towards somebody else.
else.
I mean, space always get filled up, right? And so you before he could say Jack Robinson, he's involved with somebody else, and you wonder what happened.
Right.
If you're not married, he can easily walk away from you. If he's married, then it's another battle he has to face, whether to stay with you or divorce you. But at the end of the day, those things can be very, very painful. So, I mean, basically, that's one of the ways that women destroy their relationships.
Right. Let's find solutions to this. How do we deal with this unhealthy behavior? Because it is unhealthy.
Very.
And sometimes it's actually we lose the people, as you said, we lose the people that are actually good for us. But because we've created all these things, all these walls, all these barriers, now we tend to lose the people that they may be the ones that will actually love us. So how do we deal with this unhealthy behavior, as I call it?
Okay. I think that first of all, you need to accept that you have a problem. And if you don't know you have a problem, I mean, that is going to be problematic. But when you accept you have a problem, then you find the right people to speak with. A lot of times, women are insecure. I forgot to mention that. Insecurity also boils. When you're overly jealous, it's insecurity. So you can't control everything your partner does, but you can control the way you respond or relate with him or her. So you need to find help. Find people who will not fuel your insecurity. Child, men are like that. Women like those guys. When you have a mother who your father was like that, she tells you the same thing. Avoid relationships that will not give you the right perspective. Get a licensed counselor that you can speak to and have sessions. It's very in Ghana we don't take therapy serious, but it's very important. We have responsible, not pastors. I didn't say pastors.
True.
Licensed counselors. If it's a pastor and his license, I didn't say plus, but please. So get that kind of help, and then you see discipline is something that we need to learn. When you're feeling the negative feelings, choose positivity. So learn how to replace negative thoughts. And maybe you are exposed to like environmental influence where you are may not be helping you. If you need to move, change your association, change your friends, and then have mentors. Find married couples whose relationship you admire, people who have values you admire, and then learn from them. Get counsel by them in addition to the licensed therapist. All of these things, and then read healthy books. When you go on social media, please avoid painful content. Look at content hopeful, things that is praiseworthy, noble. The more you are creating an environment for yourself. So the more you create this environment for yourself, then as a woman, you become healthy. Even if in your past you were abused, you were not treated right, or you grew up where women were not treated right, because you expose yourself to positivity, you will attract that kind of a lifestyle.
To add to that, I said earlier on, it stems from somewhere. So, to add on to what you said, as women, we should feel worthy. We should have that image of ourselves, that I am worthy of good things. I am worthy of love. And so therefore, if you see something that is good coming your way, you don't reject it. And that is by realizing your triggers.
Yes, absolutely.
Realizing that, okay, we should be conscious. We are all same human beings, unless, sorry to say, you are on the other side. But if you're a thoughtful person, you know what you do that is wrong. So if you are actually, sometimes we live our life through relationships. Like we carry some experiences into our relationships. And so if you know that you've been cheated on and you didn't heal, you should find a way to heal. And also You should find a way to communicate
Mm.
whatever it is that is happening to you. You should be able to communicate your fears. You should be able to tell your partner, honey, I feel like I'm being overcrowded.
Right.
That is how this thing is making me feel.
Right.
I feel you leave me. You communicate your fears,
Right.
and then the person would also, one way or the other, help you. You get me? So, and also, we should be able to seek help.
Right.
Like she rightly said, counseling. You go for counseling. You try to silence those thoughts. And somebody will be like, as for me, dear, me relation. No, you are lying. You want love because we are individuals. Yes, we are humans, and that is part of us.
Right.
So people have accepted that, and they are living with it, and for that reason they sometimes don't even know that they are destroying their relationship. So the long and short of it is being self-aware, loving yourself, communicating rightly to your partner about your fears, and also our expectations. We should limit them, make them realistic. Because if you go into a relationship with an expectation, comparing your ex or whatever image you had, and then you don't meet them, you see yourself, number one, disrespecting the person, not acknowledging him, and a whole lot. So we should limit or make our expectations realistic, and then I think we should be fine as women.
Least I forget, I could say not everything should be said to everybody.
True.
That's another thing. Sometimes we are even, I tell people, until you're married, don't even expose everybody who you're dating. Let the selected people who are praying for you, guiding you, know about your relationships. Then when you're about to save the dates, voila, you know. And when you get married, not everybody has to know what's going on. Be very careful about those things.
This is how I conclude today. You said something about when you're married, not everybody. It's not everybody that has to know, and it is a lesson that I, for example, learned really late in my life when things were a bit too late. I realized that I talked too much, and I know that there are other women out there who talk too much. Everything, good, bad, ugly, they will tell somebody, and that person that you're telling may probably be jealous of what you have, and now they will start fueling your fears. Look, I've learned so much. Thank you, ladies, for coming. I hope you have also learned. This has been Love Unlocked Unscripted. My name is Akusa Kunedu. We'll come your way another time. Stay blessed.
This program was proudly supported by Vena Mineral Water, Mini Cakes by Ann Menzo, Just 1233, I Need Phones, Electronic Store, and Make Fashionable, As This Looks, AK's Beauty Bar, and Type 1 Imagery.